Welcome to Z Multimedia Online. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials on TikTok at Z Multimedia, LinkedIn at Z Multimedia, YouTube, ZTV, IDX, and Facebook at ZFM-GH. Do enjoy this video.
On ZFM 101.9, and the program is I Have a Story to Tell, and my name is Fritz Baffour. I'm your host. And my guest tonight is a very interesting young man, a very talented young man, and his name is Kwaku Boakye-Frempong. He's a musician, he's a composer, and he's a real talent. Welcome to I Have a Story to Tell on ZFM 101.9, Mr. Kwaku Boakye-Frempong.
Thank you very much, Uncle Fritz.
Kwaku, I just introduced you as a musician.
Yes.
You're a composer, and you've helped in putting together several musical groups throughout the country. Now we want to know your story. Where were you born? What was life like for the first few years of your life? And can you give us some of the highlights of that period in time?
Okay. So just as you rightly said, I'm Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, and I was born in South Africa, but both of my parents are Ghanaians. My father is a native of Efidua, and then my mother is a native of Nyebo, or let me say Achimota, actually, Achimota. Yes. And then growing up, in fact, I'm the last born of three siblings. I'm the last born of three. I have two senior sisters, and growing up, in fact, it has been intriguing because the two of them are over 10 years older than I am. So you can imagine.
So you're a proper baby last.
Yes, a proper baby last. So rather than seeing them as siblings, I was seeing them as aunties. Yes. So most of the time, if they are busy because we're in school and all that, I'm mostly found by myself, either listening to music or reading books. And at times, if there's something interesting on television, I would watch. And it's through that I got interested in orchestral music, or let me say classical music in general, because I remember GTV used to show the DW TV channel.
That's right.
And then they'll show classical music, orchestras and all that. And I realized I fell in love with it. And it is through that I also got in touch with one of my favorite classical pieces, that is entitled Fair Elise by Beethoven. And my mother actually told me that the reason why I fell in love with it that time was because when I was a baby, she used to play it for me to sleep.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I think that's my subconscious just reacting to it.
That's right.
Yes. So I decided to go deeper into it. And by then, I wasn't part of any group. I wasn't.
But you were in school?
Yes, I was in school. Yes.
In South Africa?
No, actually, I went to school in Ghana. So I left South Africa when I was 3 years old.
Okay.
Yes. And then when I came to Ghana, at the same age, 3 years old, I started kindergarten at a school called Dex Preparatory School. Yes. Today it's called Dex Educational Institute in Tema. Yes. All right. So that's where I completed my junior secondary school education. Yes. But over the early in my life, I was not part of any music group. I was not learning any music instruments. But later on in church, I'm actually a Deeper Life member as well. Yes. So someone introduced me to the violin, and her name is Ida. Yeah, she was my teacher, my first music teacher of instruments, and then she introduced me to the violin. And I joined the church's orchestra. I started playing hymns.
How old were you then?
By then, I think I was 11 years old.
Wow.
Yes, I was 11 years old. And you see me, so many adult orchestra members, I'm the only child amongst them playing. And so it's like throughout my whole life, I've ended up finding myself among adults, and I happen to be the small boy amongst them. Yes. Yes, but through that, I think it helped me because I was able to learn a lot. Because we usually learn by listening. Mm-hmm. And since I'm the youngest, I and looking at our culture, you can hardly speak or you rarely speak when adults are talking. You rather listen.
You're right.
Yes, and so it's through that I was able to learn a lot. Yes. Later on, when I went ahead and I became a youth choir leader as well, one of the youth choir leaders in the church, and that is where my leadership in music began.
So you were singing then? You were
Yes, I was singing and playing at the same time. Okay. I was singing and playing. So after that, I went on to Pope John Senior High School. Yes, that was in 2009. And then I joined the school choir. And even though I had started learning the keyboard, when I got there, I realized that there were people who could play far better than I could. So that was another opportunity for me to learn from them. So I just decided that I'll be a singer and then learn from them. And by the time I completed, I ended up becoming the chief organist of the school choir. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And during that time, we were able to go for a lot of programs. I remember for those who are Catholics, they will know the Bishop Bowers, Archbishop Bowers. Yes. When he died, our school choir had the opportunity to go and revere him by performing there.
That's a Somanya,
actually, the funeral. They had it at the Holy Spirit Cathedral.
Okay.
Yes, so that's where we went to. Yes, and I think through that I was able to connect with people, and then that is where my connection to the Catholic Church started. So fast forward, once in a while, if there's a Catholic organist that is unavailable in the church, I'll be called upon, and then I go there. I remember playing the organ at churches like St. Joseph the Worker in Tema. Yes. I remember Queen of Peace Catholic Church in Medina, and I think even St. James in Osu. Yes, I've also been there too before. So and this was right after I completed senior high school. Yes. And from that time, our batch, it happened to be the batch where two major batches were completing. 2013 batch and then another batch. I don't know if you remember when the 4 years was reverted to 3 years.
3 years, yes.
So we ended up having two batches. So because of that, there was a lot of pressure in the admissions to university. So I had to stay 1 extra year. And I made a mistake. I didn't listen to advice. First of all, my mom was saying that she's saying that I love music so much. So why don't I concentrate on the music? And I told her that, my friends are saying that music should rather be a hobby and I should rather get something that is a major career. And she kept quiet. I had another person also advising me about that, but I didn't listen to them. So I decided to do ICT. And I went to Hoteka University. I got my higher national diploma. After that, I became a teaching assistant. And then from there onwards, I went to teach at IPMC, the Hohwe branch. But the thing is, when I got there, I was frustrated because what I really loved was music. I wasn't getting the chance to do music. I wasn't getting the chance to write music. And I called my mother and told her, and then she referred me. And she was like, I told you so. Mm-hmm. So I started looking for opportunities, and then I got appointment at the National Symphony Orchestra. And that is how come I entered into full-time music. Yes.
I see. So you played for the National Symphony Orchestra.
Yes.
You played the violin?
I was actually playing the viola.
The viola?
The viola.
Now,
yes.
What's the difference between the violin and the viola?
Okay, so the viola, first of all, if you compare the viola and the violin, the sizes, the viola is smaller.
Right.
Yes, and the viola has darker tones and it plays lower notes as compared to the violin.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Okay. Looking at it, when you look at it physically, it's quite intricate. You'd have to look at it before you realize that the two are actually different in size. Mm-hmm.
So there you were. You were born in South Africa.
Yeah.
Went to school in Tema.
Yes.
Found out you had a love for music because you were the baby last by a long haul. And you took on music.
Yes.
And you got far with music. But somewhere along the line, you had a very dark period where you didn't have access to your talent.
Yes.
Yeah, I can understand that because, when you're a young man and you have, you're creative, a young person and you're creative, Our parents look to medicine and law and all the other vocations and think that they are better than music and theater and drama and drumming and what have you. But there's a lot of greatness in creativity.
Yes.
Well, this is I Have a Story to Tell on ZFM 101.9. My guest is Kwaku Boakye-Frempong. He's a musician, composer. He's everything in music. He plays string instruments, plays the organ. I've heard him play the organ. And he sings. So we've got a multi-talented person here. What was the first selection that you made for this program? Because I asked you to give us 5 selections. And can you tell us what the first selection is and why you chose it?
Okay, so the first one, it happens to be my own composition.
Right.
Yes, and it's a choral piece entitled Tiduma Na Uni. And Tiduma Na Uni is it's in the Dagbani language. It means Lord, give us your grace. Yes, and it's, although I'm the one composer, it's something that resonates with me because in this world, all we need is grace to live. Yes.
But how did you translate the Dagbani?
Okay, so I have a good friend who is also a composer. His name is Samuel Mensah.
Yeah.
Yes, and for those who followed the anniversary of Asante Hene, there was a young man who was awarded for composing a song for him. Yes, for those who are familiar, so that's the guy I talked to. And he is from the northern region. So I told him that I have this text and I would like to write in his language because I really love the sound of the Dagbani language. And so he did the translations for me. He just gave me small tips on how the language is spoken, and through that I was able to write the composition.
I'm a very happy man because I'm part Dagumba, but I don't speak the language. But I love the sound of the language. So, what did you say the number is called?
Yeah, so that Tiduma Na Uni.
Tiduma Na Uni.
Yes.
That's the first selection by my guest, Kwaku Boakye-Frempong.
Z 101.9 FM.
musician, a composer. He plays instruments, multi-instruments. And he is our guest on I Have a Story to Tell. That was a beautiful, beautiful
Thank you.
piece.
Thank you very much.
How did you put it together? I mean, please, I know these things tend to be a secret passion, but tell us.
Okay, so one thing that also helped me is that when I attended Pope John Senior High School, we had a lot of free periods in between because I did general arts. Yes, and for the general arts, usually most of the works were given or home assignments were given were usually project-based. So there was mostly free time on our hands. So because of that, I would go to the library and there were music books there, like big ones. And I wanted to learn more about composition. So it is through that I was able to learn about composers like George Frederick Handel, Bela Bartok, and Haydn, and so on and so forth. So through that, I started learning their works. When it's time for excerpt period, I'll take excerpt and I'll go to town. I'll go to the cafe, download some of the music and be listening. And through that, I got an interest in composition. I was learning the techniques and all that. So I think over there, I built that foundation before I even went to university to study music again. So actually, after I did ICT in Hotenka University, I later on went to Wisconsin International University, and then that's where I went to get my degree in music. Yes.
Oh, excellent. So
Yes.
not only did you do what you thought you should do, but you also did what your heart took you to.
Exactly.
That's excellent.
And interestingly, my mother really supported it. But she kept on telling me, I told you so. Because if I had listened to her advice earlier, I'm sure by now I'd have had a PhD in music.
All right. Yeah, that's amazing. And so after university, what made you change? What made you find your way to Wisconsin? Because naturally, did you work on? Yeah, you said you were teaching assistant.
Yes.
ICT.
Yes, ICT.
So how many years did you spend on your ICT path before you broke away?
So I would say 2 years. So the first year as a teaching assistant and the second year as a lecturer at IPMC.
I see.
Yes. And like I was saying, I was frustrated. I was looking for avenues, and that is when I got the appointment at National Symphony Orchestra. Yeah, so over there now I'm closer to the musical instruments. So aside playing, I was also part of those who were writing the scores for the various instruments. You know, the orchestra usually they play using scores.
Yes.
So somebody has to write for each instrument. Yes. So with my experience I had learned in writing for instruments, I was able to apply that over there. And to be sincere, I was a very happy person, happier than working as an IT person. Yes. But as I was there, I was should I say I was on part-time. I wasn't a full-time worker, so I wasn't being paid. I wasn't on the controller's pay list and all that. But over there, I felt that I needed to at least get a certification because experience, all the experience is good, but it's not enough. You'd also need some certification to, to prove that you can do the work. So after that, I went to Wisconsin University. Over there, I met lecturers like New Love Annan. New Love Annan is a composer of the popular song Adomni Humobro. You never gave the promise that the journey. Yeah, he was my lecturer. I
love that. He wrote it.
Yeah, he wrote it.
I thought it was something written somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite. One of my favorite tunes.
Wow.
It's such a wonderful song.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
so all right, tell us about Wisconsin and the
Yes.
studies, your musical studies.
Yeah. So he was one of my lecturers. He also taught me advanced musical composition. And he gave me a lot of assignments. He introduced me to some composers that live in Europe. I was able to speak with them. He even gave me some, he gave me gigs whereby I was doing orchestrations for other people. Over there too, I met another lecturer, Victor Mannison.
Yes, Victor.
Yes, Victor
Good
Mannison.
friend of mine.
Yes. He was also my lecturer, and then, in fact, he's not just my lecturer, he's also my mentor.
Right.
To date, he still mentors me. And then also I met Mr. Eson. Mr. Eson was the one who actually taught me how to manage choirs. He taught me choir leadership, and he taught me musicianship too as well. So I think over there, they were able to build me up the more. And that is what is adding to, should I say, my greatness or my uniqueness. Yes.
All right. This is ZFM 101.9. The program on air is I Have a Story to Tell. My name is Fritz Baffour. I'm your host. And I've got a guest, a wonderful young man, multi-talented, who's telling us about his musical career and telling us a story. His name is Kwaku Boakye-Frempong. He was born in South Africa, came back to Ghana at the age of 3, went to school in Tema, and went to Pope John in Koforidua. And he's, I think he's loved music from birth. So he's telling us a wonderful story here. So you went to Wisconsin and you met very good composers and very good musicians. And I'm very proud of the fact that they encouraged you.
Yes.
Because Ghana, we always talk about PhD, pull him down and all that. And I know that Ghanaians are better than that.
Yeah.
So tell us more about Wisconsin and your experiences and what gave you that extra fillip. Because I know you worked for the National Symphony Orchestra, which is attached to the National Theatre in Ghana, in Accra.
Yeah. So because of that experience that I had from the National Theatre, in fact, Neil Avanand did something that actually made me happy. For my first lecture, he had written a composition and he asked me to analyze it for him. Analyze it and then check if it's actually a good composition. And I was wondering, Neil Avanand, you are a big composer in this country. How can you tell me to come? But, it actually, uplifted my spirits. These were some of the experience I was gaining. I don't want to say they came down to my level. That's not the right word, but they made it seem as if I'm at par with them. I don't know if that's the right word to use.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
And so it's encouraged me. It made me realize that, okay, if at any point in time I feel down or I feel I'm not good enough, at least with this experience, I can get something that I can get things done. Yeah, so this was one of the good experiences I had over there. And, because I was also, I had entered into full-time music, of course, I have to pay my school fees. I also got married while in school. I have to take care of my wife and all that. Of course, I have to be eating. So, and they made the curriculum, flexible for me, so that I wouldn't have to miss lectures at my comfortable time. I could, because I was the only one in my class.
I see.
The music department had begun fresh, so I was the only one. In fact, my batch, I was the only one who graduated. So they made it so flexible for me, and it really helped me a lot. Yes.
This is a very uplifting story. And so you had the time that you went to Wisconsin, and actually got to know the proper rudiments of music in terms of composition.
Yes.
Because I must say I'm totally overwhelmed with the first composition that was in Dagbani.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that the Gomba cousins out there, if they were listening, would have been very, very happy and exhilarated about the kind of music that came out there.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful composition.
Yeah, thank you.
So you left Wisconsin with a degree.
Yes.
And what did you go to do, or do you stay with the symphony orchestra?
Okay, so I actually didn't go back to the symphony orchestra. I realized that if I had to go there, I would face another issue where I'll be frustrated with the reason that the National Symphony Orchestra is a very, very busy place to be. Today there are programs, there's a state function here and there, and I'll end up working for them, but I'll be lagging when it comes to writing compositions.
Which is your love.
Yes, which is my main love. So I decided that, okay, let me take the risk. In fact, when I was beginning, I was scared because you hardly find composers making music in Ghana. It's different from, music artists. They write their music and they go and perform it themselves, and then they go on radio or on TV and then they showcase it, and then people, patronize. But for me, I'm a composer entirely, and an entirely new thing that is coming. But I said, let me just take the risk. And then my ability to, arrange music for bands, for orchestra, and all that, I decided to create a job out of it. So what happened was, the first group that I did orchestration for, it's an orchestra in the US called Old Bridge Orchestra. Yeah. So when I did orchestration for them, I got something. And I realized that, okay, I can make this one a career. So till date, there are orchestras that I arrange for. There are choirs that I even arrange for. Some choirs, they decide to use about 3 keyboards and 4 keyboards. I usually write for each of the keyboards so that it doesn't become noisy and so on and so forth. Yes. And then also there are other bands. It could be jazz bands. It could be a regimental band. I arrange music for all of them. And I think that's should I say, it's lucrative. Yes. Yes.
Right. We're on ZFM 101.9. The program is I Have a Story to Tell. My guest is Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who is a musician, a composer, an arranger. He's also, he can sing, he can do all kinds of things, and he's telling us a story. He's told us where he originated from, born in South Africa, of Ghanaian parents, went to school in Tema. At a very early age, he fell in love with music. Nice anecdotes coming from that. Then he went to Pope John Secondary School, and then from there to Ho Technical University, where he did ICT against the wishes of his mother, which is very rare, because most of the time when they say someone is going against the wishes of their parents, it's because they're doing something that the parents feel is not lucrative enough. Yeah. So you want to be a footballer, and your parents says, I want you to be a lawyer. In this case, your mother said, go into music, yes, because she knew that's where your talent lay and that's where your future lies. So it's a very uplifting kind of story. And then when you went to Wisconsin, you did work at the National Symphony Orchestra. Yeah. Your story is a very, very wonderful one. And then you went to Wisconsin, where you met people who helped you grow, and that's the uplifting part of the story. It's very nice to hear of creatives helping creatives to progress. But you did say something about choirs, and you said you learned how to manage choirs and how to be a leader of a choir. I didn't think that was a very specific kind of thing to do. Yeah. But from the way you're saying it, what does that really entail? Because there's so many choirs in Ghana, and people tell us about being choir leaders and choir masters and everything. Yeah. But there is a talent and there is a vocation to it, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah. Generally, as a choir master, you are working with people from different backgrounds. You might even professionally, there are people who may be ahead of you. In your choir, you may have bankers, you may have lawyers, you may have judges. So it's important that if you're a choir master, you should learn how to. You should be sort of like an HR. You should know how to accommodate each of these people with their different characters and all that. Usually at times you have to put ego aside, and all that was taught during the course. Yes. My experience like this in the choir I am part of, that's Tumi Music. Yes. My experience over there is there are different people with different characters. Okay. They are from different backgrounds. Some of them are even from other choirs, and then they came to join Tumi Music. So if probably someone is late for rehearsal or someone is talking during rehearsal, usually if it had been in a school setting, if it's a teacher, you shout at the choristers. But in this case, you can't do that. Someone he feels that, he's a big boss. So you can't, come and lord yourself over the person. So some of my experience from what I learned was that you have to understand the person's character. There are some people, you probably wait, you go home, you speak to them. Okay, by all means, you touch something in there. There are certain people, probably even right there at the rehearsal ground, you can just maybe write them off and don't get offended because they know that what they did is not good. So these are some of all the trainings that I had from school that helped me.
You had to be a man manager or a woman manager.
Yeah, yes. Just so that you don't have to step on anyone's shoes or end up losing people from the choir and all that. And even working with your, let me say, your other executives. For instance, the founder of Tumi Music is Kennedy Dankwa. Okay. And I know he's older than me. I'm sure he's about 10 years older than me or something like that. And although I'm also I'm assisting him in directing the choir, I have to still show him that respect. Yes, I have to show him that respect. I have to also understand that even though we are doing the same thing professionally for the choir, I have to, give him that respect because he's older than me. I can't talk to him anyhow, and so on and so forth. Yes.
Now, you were talking about Tumi, and we'll come down to that.
Yeah.
We've still got a long way to go till we get to Tumi. So you've been managing and helping choirs to grow. I just want to ask you, is it difficult to put a choir together? Because, I love music,
yes,
and I like listening to music. And sometimes I come up across choirs who shouldn't be there at all because the music is so cacophonous. It's terrible. So how do you put a good choir together?
So it's something that's really, really difficult to do. Usually, it's best to start, when you're beginning, it's best to start with people who can read music, people who understand music, so that when you put them together, you're not now going to start teaching rudiments to people and all that. It'll be difficult. The few people you start with, they know the music already. As you bring more people into the choir, they begin to teach them and all that. But you see, one difficult aspect too is that aside them being part of the choir, like I said, a lot of them are in other professional backgrounds.
Yeah.
You have bankers, you have accountants. So their schedules might clash.
Yeah.
And it's hectic. As a music director, when you are going for a program and your best singers can't come for the program because they all have some duties to perform at their workplaces, you also can't go and tell them that they should go and ask their bosses for permission. That is what feeds them. So at the long run, you realize that money ends up becoming a motivator. So I know there are many choirs whereby when they go for programs or they raise money, all the money goes into the director's pockets, which I feel it shouldn't be so. Okay, because the people who you've gone to perform with, it's like they've worked for you, they've done something for you as a director. Without the choir, you can't be a director. So whatever returns comes, it has to be shared, not necessarily equally, but as you are trying to show appreciation. Okay, and in most choirs, you don't find that happening, and which is really sad. So because of this, a lot of choristers have decided that they won't be part of any choir. So when you are trying to bring them in, it's very, very difficult. And the gospel music parts,
yes,
the choirs that have been formed, they are really good at paying their singers and all that. And I think it's something that the choral industry should learn. Okay. Because at times, if you see some of these quotes, the quotes that some of the choirs make, you are like, oh, if each chorister is able to get a portion, it's good enough for their Uber and probably something that they'll eat, but they don't get anything like that. So at times, if you have nothing to motivate someone, they won't join your choir. Yes. And so there was even a proposal by someone that choirs that are already available should begin to come together so that we form some sort of one big body.
A mass choir.
Which I think will be okay, but
isn't
I
that
doubt
a little bit unwieldy, having a mass choir? Because I know that in places like in Wales, where they used to have the coal mines, they used to have massive village choirs, maybe 100 people singing.
Yeah.
How easy is it to manage a choir of about 100 people?
Okay, so usually the problem doesn't even come with managing the people.
Yeah.
It comes with, after you've put the choirs together, you'll be clashing with other directors. Not even the harmony, other directors. Because some people begin to feel threatened, especially when they realize that you are, should I say, maybe better at music than them, they begin to feel threatened. It brings a lot of arguments and a lot of quarrels and all
friction,
that.
yes.
Yeah, a lot of friction. So that is what has made that kind of coming together as a mass choir very difficult.
All right. I have a story to tell with the remarkable young man, Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, whose musical journey is a very interesting one. He did ICT against his mother's wishes because she wanted him to be a musician, which is a rarity in Ghana. And so he did his degree in music in Wisconsin after getting a diploma in ICT at Ho Technical University. And he's worked with the National Symphony Orchestra. He plays the violin, the viola. He's a beautiful organist. And I've heard him sing. So it shows you that this is a very competent, a very dashing young man. He played a tune that was beautiful in Debani. And now it's time for us to have your second selection before we continue with your story.
Yes.
What's your second selection?
Okay, so the second one is Akwesi.
Akwesi.
Yes, and Akwesi is it's just like the festival that the Ashantis the Akans.
Yes.
Sorry about that. The Akans celebrate, and I wanted to pay homage to my Akan heritage.
Yeah.
And so I looked at that festival. I watched videos on it because I've not witnessed one before. I one day wish to witness one, and then based on what I saw, I just put together some music. But this one is for orchestra. There's no voices.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So the composition is called Akwesi,
yes,
and it's an instrumental composition by Kwaku Boakye-Frempong.
Thank you.
Z 101.
a beautiful musical composition called Akwesi Day, and it was written by my guest, Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who is a musician, a composer, an arranger, and as we go along, we're getting more plaudits and more appellations because he's also a choir master, a choir trainer, everything in music. That was a wonderful piece. I didn't even want to stop listening to it because I'm sure if I'd closed my eyes and I had the earphones on in my room and they were playing this kind of music, I could envisage the actual Akwesi Day because you brought in the syncopation, the kind of percussion and everything, and there were traces of Adowa and photo from and all that.
Yes,
it's amazing.
Thank you.
So we're on ZFM 101.9, and I'm on a high here because I'm listening to the music of our guest. And he's played one in Dagbani and one in one which was an instrumentation on the Akwesi Day. He's told us about the various aspects of the classical music scene in Ghana. He's had the experience. He's been exposed to the Ghana Symphony Orchestra. He's gone into music school at Wisconsin. He's worked with great composers and arrangers, and I'm learning a lot here about how to manage choirs and how to get them moving. Now, so, you put these pieces, you compose these pieces. Yeah. How do you get people to play your compositions for you to record? How difficult is it? And what is the kind of effort you put in to get a result such as the wonderful one I just heard?
Yes. Okay, so currently I'm part of an orchestra called Accra Chamber Orchestra.
Right.
And I'm their, I'm their librarian. So basically I arrange music for them as well. I do compose for them as well. So usually it's not difficult for me to give my music to them to perform. Yes. Usually it is the platform because currently it is an orchestra. It's a project orchestra. They only perform when someone needs an orchestra for something. So usually a lot of these clients, probably they have their own set of music they want performed. Yes. So it's difficult. But what you heard right now, I actually composed it for an orchestra called the New Conductors Orchestra.
Right. Tell us about the New Conductors.
New Conductors, yes. So it's an orchestra of conductors who can play their instruments. So probably it's a conductor, but he could play the violin. So they came together and then they held a concert in the UK.
Oh,
and that is how I composed for them.
Did you go to the UK to?
No, actually I didn't go there. I think it was a free, how should I say it? It was more, the commission was sort of free. Right. Yes, because they themselves, they didn't have money. They just wanted to perform music from all over the world. Yes, and that's how come I was tasked to perform this. But I couldn't attend the concert, but I got to see it live and how it was put together and everything. Yes, and I liked it because these are white people and, African rhythms are quite difficult for them to execute, but they did a good job. Yes. So but generally, it's very difficult to get your music out there, especially if you are not known.
But I want to ask a question. So naturally, you've got orchestras and you've got quintets and octets and all those people. And how do you get them into the studio? How do you record such difficult and complex pieces so that they come out as a true recording?
Yes. So
do we have the studio space available? That's also what
in fact, the studio spaces available are very expensive. So usually, if you don't get someone who is sponsoring the recording, you probably just do the recording in concerts. because that's where the concerts, we have the concert space, we have the large space there already. So while they are there, everyone makes sure they play the right thing because it's been recorded. If for some reason there are mistakes here and there, it means that you've lost that record. You have to wait for another opportunity, because getting a studio that has a huge space is very difficult.
Do we have any in Ghana?
Oh yes, there's Black City Studio.
Where is that?
Is it Kokomlemle? Yes, around that side. Yes, Black City Studio. They have a very big space. And there was once, there's this American band musician called Bill McPherson.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
been to, yes.
Yeah, he played with my cousin Kwitsinsaki.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Of blessed memory.
Yeah, of blessed memory. And then he tasked me to do some arrangements of his music and then Kwisinsaki's music. Yes, 5 songs. And then I arranged them for orchestra. You know, he basically did it for band, but I expanded it into orchestra.
I see.
And then we used the Black City Studio, and it was great. Actually, the recordings are still under production. So I'm sure by the end of the year, they'll be released. Yeah.
I'm very fascinated. I'm very glad I got you on this program.
Thank you.
We're talking to Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who's a musician, a composer, an arranger, a choir leader. He's telling us about how he manages studios and things like that. It helps to know these things, because sometimes when you listen to the news out there in Ghana, it's all very sad. And then you see young people working very, very hard to uplift the rest of society through their creativity. So I'm very, very happy here on ZFM 101.9 with Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who's a breath of fresh air. And he's telling us about his... you arrange, you compose and everything. Have you had the opportunity of going out and experiencing the music scene out of Ghana?
Okay, so I have not gotten the opportunity yet, although I'm still looking for more opportunities of that sort. Currently, there has been some, should I say, opportunities, but these are opportunities where I have to go and stay for a long time, and I feel I've not solidified my name in Ghana yet. I wouldn't want to go and get missing out of the scene, and now coming back will be difficult for me. And this was actually an advice that was given to me by one of my lecturers at Wisconsin, New Lavanan. Yeah. He told me that, you know, going out there, it's very good, but in the long run, when you come back, who knows you?
Yeah.
And that's how come we have a lot of artists who are doing very well out there, but by the time they retire and they come to Ghana, no one knows them and their music just dies. Yes, and I wouldn't want to if I get an opportunity whereby I just have to go maybe spend a month and come, that's fine. But for something where I have to go and stay there for years, work, and I come back and no one knows me, that would be very painful.
Yeah, but what you've just said is about musical appreciation.
Yes.
Because if a Ghanaian musician leaves Ghana, you know, and makes it out there, and we haven't got the environment for music appreciation in Ghana, that's how you'll get lost.
Yes.
Because we've got to know about our talent.
Yes.
For example, you know, when I was growing up, the greatest, we had Kofi Ganaba, the guy Warren. He was one of the big stars out there. Came back and made a splash in Ghana because he worked with young people. Yeah. And then we had Osibisa. And, you know, they stayed on for a long time because, I mean, their music traveled not only in Europe and America and Asia and all those places, but in Ghana they were appreciated.
Yes.
And I'm just going to ask you a question. How do we get Ghanaians to appreciate music as it should be appreciated?
So my formula, let me call it a formula, is to inculcate our indigenous style into the music. That's just like what we heard in Akwesi Day. Yeah. The instruments being used are European instruments, but the style of music is authentically African or authentically Ghanaian. So to be sincere, the first time people heard it, the reaction to it, I was surprised because I know that usually classical music or even African classical music is not something that pulls a lot of interest. But with Akwesideye, I could see that a lot of people were related. You can even see our man over here. He was bobbing his head to it.
He
was enjoying it. Yes. Yeah. So I realized that that's one thing I've been successful at. So I inculcate the African style of music, the rhythms, the tunes and everything. And then I attach it to the European style of music. So a fusion. And then by the time you realize, you end up pulling crowds from outside and in there. In fact, I have my music on streaming platforms. And when I check the demographics or the location, I realize that even in the US, in Germany and UK, I have more streams over there than even in Ghana. Which is surprising.
No, I don't think it's surprising because very few Ghanaians know about you.
Okay.
And I think that technically Ghanaians do not go in search of musical experiences.
Yes.
There's one little question I want to ask you about Akwesideye. When you started playing, I realized that the instrumentation was like voices singing.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, have you put words to the song yet? To the composition yet? Because it'll be amazing getting somebody to sing where the musical instruments played as if somebody was singing.
I've actually had that comment before, but so far there's no words. I just wanted to imitate. You see, when the king is coming or the chief is arriving, you have some women that say or they sing some appellations. That's what I wanted to imitate. So I used 2 flutes to just imitate that.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah, so here we are on ZFM 101.9. The program is I Have a Story to Tell, and I've got a wonderful young man here, a very talented young man called Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who is a musician and arranger. He's played in every aspect of the music scene, the classic music scene in Ghana. And he's played 2 compositions. One was in Dagbani, the second was an instrumental, and everybody in the studio was bobbing their heads. It's amazing. I'm really, really very happy that your mother forced you to go into music. Now, you mentioned when in our conversation earlier about Tumi. What exactly is Tumi?
Okay, so Tumi is a group of young singers who were put together for their talent. In fact, most of these people are in different choirs, but it looks like generally the choral industry is stagnant when it comes to repertoire. A lot of choirs don't perform music out there. In fact, almost all the choirs, they look up to one particular choir. I wouldn't want to mention their name. They look up to them to the extent that when they go for that choir's concert, they take the repertoire and then they go and perform the same thing. Yes. Although there are a few single choirs that are doing very well, but what Tumi does is that they pick compositions from even young composers in Ghana. They pick compositions from, obscure places, so that we create a repertoire that is unique. We create music for, what our clients really want. Number one, what they have heard before, and 2, something that they would also like to hear. Yes, that is what Tumi does, basically. So, and aside that, we are also training people musically. So right now, currently in Tumi, a lot of our choristers are able to read music.
You teach them how to read music?
Yes, we teach them. Yes, without them even having to pay any school fees to learn, they can at least pick one score and then read music. They can learn the music on their own. Yes, so that is one of the things. So it's basically like we are giving back to society. Yes, and at least we know that if we go for programs, at least your TNT, you go home with your TNT. You won't go home hungry. Yes, so that's how.
Tumi is a movement, a cultural movement.
Exactly.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah, and I realized that with music, one of the most important aspects of music, if you want to deliver, the best kind of music is to rehearse.
Yes.
Now tell us about rehearsals, the intensity and what you do and all that.
Yes. And also looking at a lot of our choristers to also choristers, some of them to also working in the professional environment. So we usually meet on weekends. And in fact, there's a club I would like to really uplift. Okay, they help us so much. And then they've given us a rehearsal space. And they have a very beautiful piano. We go there and then we are able to rehearse. And the good thing is that...
I didn't want you to mention the club, but now I can see that you want to, so mention the club.
Okay, yeah, so their name is Ghana Club. Yes, so Ghana Club has really supported us when it comes to pushing our music and also our rehearsal space. What happens is that during our rehearsal, we first begin with voice training. In fact, we teach the anatomy of the voice, the vocal box and everything, and
Explain it to our listeners.
Yes.
What is the anatomy of the voice?
Okay, so let me say the physical part of the voice, what the tongue does, what the throat does while you are singing, how to push air from your lungs. We do all that. It's almost like an aerobics.
All right. As a layman, I'll just say I thought if you can sing, you can sing. That you don't have to go through with all the breathing exercises and things like that. And you're telling me it's different. So continue.
Yes. So in fact, even how to even push your lungs, how to control the diaphragm, all that is taught. Then after that,
Why is that important?
Okay, so number one, you have to make sure that when you are singing, your throat doesn't feel constricted. You should be able to sing freely. And that's the reason why you have to control all the, the parts, your lungs, your diaphragm. It controls how the air is pushed out of your voice. And that's the reason why, because looking at the repertoire that we learn, if you are not careful, you might even end up hurting yourself as a singer.
Really?
Yes. There have been instances where people have gotten, cancer of the throat because of some of these things. Or some people have ended up losing their voice entirely. Yeah, so it's important that you learn the right way to sing.
That's
Yes. And then also, secondly, after that, we also do music theory. And that's how come we teach people how to read music. So that give any score that is given to the choristers, they are able to look through and sing. So even because of that, in one rehearsal, we can end up learning about 5 songs because everyone can read. Yes.
Now, you were talking about space, and you mentioned the Ghana Club, which is a rarity.
Yes.
Are there other places you could actually go to learn how to sing, or not learn how to sing, to rehearse in Accra or in Ghana, because we're talking about the whole country?
Yes. So usually Tumi also has partnership with Reverend Dr. Kwaku Boakye-Frempong. Yes, she's an Anglican priest. Yes. And she, in fact, the church where she grew up from, at Abelimpe, is an Anglican church. Anytime we need
St.
the place,
Anthony's, I think it's
yes,
called.
St. Anthony's, yes. Yeah. Anytime we need the place, it's readily available for us. Yes, so there's another place where at times we go to have our rehearsals. Yeah.
And how do you fund rehearsals? Because naturally people are going to come. Some of the musicians who are coming for the rehearsals, they've got to pay their Uber,
Yes.
and at least they've got to buy themselves a drink or something. How do you handle that?
Yeah, so the good thing too is that when we started going for programs, of course, we don't spend all the money. We keep some. We actually have someone who's in charge of accounting. And so at the end of the day, we look at those. First of all, we look at those we can carpool. And of course, we give them TNT. Those we can't carpool, we have someone who lives as far as at Valley View University. Yes, so that we can just foot her transportation from the rehearsal ground. So at the end of the rehearsal, everybody has at least something in their pockets. So we have an account where money is readily available for things like that. Yes.
I see. So it seems as if you need to be very well organized if you want to become a proper musician in terms of the profession and all that.
Yeah.
Now, you've got Tumi. Do you have people asking for your participation in their events?
Yes. In fact, we do. I think at the beginning of the year, in either January or February or so, we had about 3 programs. Even recently, Victor Manison, he's going to do a master class, and then Tumi is going to be involved. Yes. So we do get a lot of engagements. Yes. And the good thing about these engagements is that when you go for one, you get somebody who is interested in your music, and then they give you their card, or maybe they take your card, and then we go for other programs. So almost every time, Tumi is very busy. Yes.
That's great. This is ZFM 101.9, and my guest on this program, I have a story to tell, is Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who is a musician, a composer, and an arranger, and he's giving us facets of the music world that I a creative, I have never heard, and it's very fascinating. And he's been part of the Accra, the Ghana, the Symphony Orchestra. He's been in choirs, helped in a few. He played the organ in a few churches around, and he was telling about Tumi, which is a musical movement to help people and enable people with music skills to practice their skills and to show off their skills. Now, you've been telling us about the music, but now about you. Yeah. How are you navigating through all this? Because being a creative is very difficult in a developing country such as Ghana.
Yes.
People appreciate your music, but in essence, it doesn't make enough money or a living for you.
Yeah.
So you've got to do other things. But you as a person, how do you run your life? Because you're a family man.
Yeah.
Tell us your story so that to encourage people
Those
out there who feel hard done by but want to do what you're doing.
Yes. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm into full-time music.
Right.
And the compositions that I do, I have them on streaming platforms, and at least I earn something per stream that I do. But currently, it hasn't generated enough traffic for me to, be able to withdraw what I have. So what I've fallen on is my ability to arrange music. So I have worked with artists like Stonebwoy. His music, Believe in Africa. There's an orchestra over there. I wrote basically what the orchestra was playing. And like I was saying, I've actually done gigs for orchestras outside. I also arrange for, bands. It could be jazz band. It could be a regimental band. I arrange for all of them. And all that, it brings a stream of income. I don't know if you get me. Yes.
Yeah, I do.
And all that. And also, another important aspect, we have some composers, they want their music to be written down. And they don't know how to write music themselves. They sing the melody, and it is my job to listen to it and then write what the person is singing, write what the instruments are playing. Yes, and I've done something similar for a musician called Lodina. Right. Lodina, yes. And so basically looking at all this, bringing them together, that is what actually puts food on my table. But it's hectic.
All right. Now, what I wanted to find out from you is, can you tell me about your working day, when you get up, when you listen to your music, when you spend time with your family, and some of the challenges. And,
Okay, so on a working day, my office is in my hall.
Right.
My office is in my hall. So if I have a contract, probably I'm supposed to arrange for an orchestra. Usually either they give me a piano score and I'm supposed to expand it. So from about 8 o'clock a.m. when I start.
Do you have a piano in the house?
Yeah, I have a piano in the house. Good. Yeah, so while I'm orchestrating, I'm trying to, navigate my way around using the piano and all that. Then when I feel as if I'm at a point in time I want to relax, then I'll just stretch around and then I'll just practice a little bit. I'll be playing some classical pieces on the piano. So basically that is how my work goes till around 5 p.m. Then I am done. It's now time for family. Yes, because how do I put it? We also have a small boy. He's so little, he'll be disturbing. I also have to give him attention. And we can't always allow our devices to babysit for us. Showing him all this video, it's not enough. No. He needs us personally. Yeah. But at times, the work can get so stressful that you end up seeing me or having me working for about close to 16 hours in a particular day. Because some of the works that come, it's needed urgently. So that means I have to stay up late. Yes. So at times it's bothering. I know my wife doesn't complain, but I know she feels it. At times she wants
me to be musical herself.
Yeah, she's musical herself. Yes. And she understands.
A little bit about her too.
Yes.
Without.
Yes. And the good thing is she understands. She began as a singer in church. Yes, she began as a singer in church. We met in the year 2020. By then, I was at the National Theatre. I was working at the National Theatre. And then somebody said, she needed a little bit of training because they've noticed that she has the talent for singing. In fact, the person who introduced her to me is also a singer. His name is Kelvin. Right. And I said, okay, I'm willing to teach her. I'm willing to help her. I taught her how to read music. And then from then onwards, we started learning various repertoire. And then in 2020, she began her debut as a singer, a classical singer. There was a program that was held at Mary Mother of Good Counsel Catholic Church. Yeah. And then she ended up singing about 3 solo works. And then that is how it all began. So since then, and I'm the one who has been playing for her to sing.
Oh, good.
Yes, so we go for programs, I play for her. And she's also part of Tumi. She's also part of Tumi Music.
And so how do you handle both of you going to rehearsals, and you've got a son, haven't you?
Yes.
And so how do you take him along with you?
Yes, we take him along. We do take him along.
I'm saying this because I met him. And to the listeners out there, he is a most adorable boy. Wow, he's so calm. And when you look at him, he looks like a little adult, very handsome little adult. Anyway, go on.
Yes, yeah. Usually when we have a major program, we don't take him there. And the reason is the two of us will be very busy, and we can also, burden another person by giving him to. So what we do is we just leave him with my mother. And my mother is always available for him. And she's doing a very good job.
She's your biggest supporter. So.
Yes, she's my biggest supporter.
Yeah.
She's always happy. Yes.
Oh, great. Well, this is ZFM 101.9. I'm having a very special evening tonight with Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who's a musician, an arranger, a composer. He's a maestro of all kinds, and he's been telling us a story. He was born in South Africa, came back to Ghana when he was 3, went to Dex in Tema, then went to Pope John in Kofodia, which is a Catholic school, where I think he upped his ante with the music. Then he wanted to go do ICT against his mother's wishes because she knew he was a talent. He did a little bit of ICT teaching, and then he went back to music, which is his first love. Went to Wisconsin, studied music, met some iconic musicians such as Newlove Annan and Victor Manison, and he's worked with the Accra Symphony Orchestra, National Theatre, and he's a married man. Told us a little bit about his life at home as a musician and the things that hold him back and push him forward. Mm-hmm. What is your third selection? Okay,
so for this one, I have there's a song I love by a British composer called John Ratter. Right. It's entitled "Look at the World." It's also a reflective song for me, just that it allows me to ponder on the goodness of God. Even when I am down, when I listen to that music, it makes me appreciate all that I am.
God is good.
Yes, God is good all the time.
God is good. Okay.
Z 101.9 FM.
And the program on air is I Have a Story to Tell with Fritz Baffour. And my guest tonight is Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who is a musician, an arranger, a composer, and very much a music maestro. And he's been taking us through his life story interspersed with the craft that he's accepted for himself, that he's a musician and everything to do with music. Now, Kwaku, you're talking about working with somebody like Stone Boy.
Yeah.
That means that there are no limitations to what musicians can do if they're serious.
Yes.
We're talking now about finding revenue and income for this country.
Yeah.
Do you see music as a great source of revenue for Ghana, a way of earning money for, in terms of helping our country succeed through the resources that we'll get from doing the best in music?
Yes. I think that will even go through the tourism sector, because entertainment I don't know how to say it. Maybe I'm being too rash, but at times it feels as if tourism in general is something that is not looked at, or creativity in Ghana is something that is not really paid attention to, but it can be a great source of revenue, because we have a term that we say people are putting the country on the map. We know that there are musicians like Shatawale, we have Sarkodie, we have Stoneboy himself, who have gone out there and people love their music. And I think if the government is able to push a lot of, a lot of attention to the creative industry, I think it's going to generate a lot of money for the country, because it's going to even bring more tourists. Yes, because there are a lot of people who would love to see some of these stars, and they will all come to the country. Right? It's
right, but fine. As somebody who has worked in the tourism industry at the highest level, I accept that what you're saying is true. But I'm fascinated by the fact that because of your knowledge of music, the fact that you can arrange and compose, you are getting some kind of traction.
Yes.
By working with people who need your services.
Yes.
So I'm talking about musical services rather than the actual bodies on the ground.
Oh, okay.
So if we can help people like you manifest your music and your abilities to the rest of the world, it's a form of earning money.
Yes.
Because here you are, you've lived in Ghana, haven't gone out since you were a kid, but you are creating avenues for people to earn, for you to earn money from external sources.
Yeah. So I think for example, a platform like this whereby my music has been showcased, I think more platforms like this, when they are given to creatives like me, I think it will help to push them further. Because before you get that kind of traction, at least those out there should see that you are gaining some grounds from your background. If you take a big industry like Grammys, the Grammy Awards like this, I think before they give you an award, they have to see that you've already done your homework back where you are coming from. The people know you, the people adore you. So I think a program like this, I think it should be very common in all the media spaces, whereby they showcase talent, they showcase creatives. I think it's going to do more for many of us. Yes.
Right. So it's a question of exposure.
Exposure, yes.
And how do you get media outlets, all right, to find you sexy enough, using the word sexy advisedly,
yes,
to showcase you?
Yes. Okay, so
what are your suggestions?
Based on what I've done so far, I have gotten some of my music performed on City TV.
Right.
Yes, and I think mainly because of my, should I say, my social media presence.
Right.
Because on YouTube like this, I have my music there. Okay, and so it's easier to showcase what I have done. It's easier to showcase what I've done because I must have something to show forth that, okay, this is what I've been able to do. So I think it's easier that way, and then the media houses will be able to know that, okay, this is what you are able to do. I think we can push you. So I think that's the best way.
Yeah. You know, what really bothers me about Ghana sometimes is that we downplay what we have. Because one of the greatest composers we've ever had is Ephraim Amu.
Yes.
And though we have an Ephraim Amu festival, I don't think it's marketed enough, showcased enough. Everybody knows the songs that have been played, but I'm sure a few people don't know who wrote the songs and what his life story is. Because if I'm going to make a comparison, not with music, when you go to Britain, Shakespeare is an icon.
Yes.
As soon as you mention Shakespeare, everybody from a little child of 3 to somebody who's 100 years old can say Shakespeare.
Yes.
And we should be able to do that with someone like Ephraim Amu or Philip Behu or the great Kobna Nketia and all that.
Yep.
And do you think that musicians are doing enough to create the critical mass for them to be recognized and for the forebears to be recognized too?
In fact, looking at the fact that I can say we've not done enough. It was because of this. That's why Afro Classical Nights, a classical music event, was established. So Afro Classical Nights was established so that Ghanaian composers, especially, that it seems as if their work has gone into obscurity, will be brought to light again. So what we usually do is that for our performers who come onto the show, at times we force them to perform some of these works by Ephraim Amu. So Ephraim Amu's Bonre Kente, Kro, 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 Kro. Yes, it has been performed on the Afro Classical Nights platform before. We have music by Nketia that has been performed. So usually at times we force our performers. Usually some of our performers just want to do, because it's Afro classical, they consider the classical aspect and they want to perform Chopin and then stuff. But at times we force them to perform works by our own people. We even have composers like George Mensah Esilfi, whose piano works has been performed. And even that work that was performed has even won an award internationally before.
Oh, great.
Yes. And we try our best. We try our best to even educate people, but it looks as if mainstream always has a way of still coming to the limelight. We try to bring composers that are going in obscurity, but mainstream seems to always win. It's still something we are trying to solve. We are trying to push.
One of my favorite CDs is the Irish Tenors.
Okay.
Where they put together some of the great Irish tenors and they sang Irish songs. And so it became a very big hit. And we've got the Italian tenors and we've got the Canadian tenors and they highlight the music from the various parts of the world that they come from. And I'm saying that, don't you think the classical musicians should come together and put together a roadmap for putting Ghana on the map?
Yes.
By the kind of music they play. Because, you know, this composition that you had, Akweside, which I think I'll try and ask the big men in ZFM to play on occasion.
Thank you.
Is fascinating because I think it's only 1/1,000,000th of your talent and the talent of other Ghanaians.
Yeah.
So how do you people get together? You've got Musica. Are you part of Musica? And if you're not part of Musica, why aren't you? And if you're part of it, why aren't you being more aggressive?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've not gotten representation in Musica. In fact, there are people who are trying to spearhead the conversation on our behalf. But it looks like Musica is still not interested in art music. For some reason, I don't know why, there are artists like Manifest that are still trying to push. But I think last year, even Ekwa was invited on the Telecel Ghana Music Awards.
Yes.
But it's not enough. It's not enough. I think we still need representation in music. And we, like I was saying, there are people spearheading, but it looks as if they are not interested. Probably that's not the case, but from if you sit at the bar, it looks like they are not interested.
Yeah.
So what we are doing is, from our own corner, we are trying to push. There's a project that Tumi is going to do. We are picking the old high life songs, like from legends like Ken Onyina and others, where we want to arrange it so that something like the Irish tenors and the Canadian tenors have been doing, we'll do something similar. We are going to arrange all these high life songs and just to push them, just to showcase, because it looks like I didn't even know Ken Onyina until recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is sad.
Which is very sad, because when I listen to the music, I could see, I was telling myself, my parents have enjoyed
Chopin and Tchaikovsky and Bizet and all those people. And you haven't mentioned, or E.T. Mensah or Kim Bruce or Jerry Hansen.
Oh, and it's so sad. And in fact, if it hadn't even been the National Symphony Orchestra, I wouldn't have known Kofi Ganaba.
Right.
I didn't have known him.
Really?
Yes. I didn't know of him, and I got to hear that he's even a very good drummer.
He was not only a good drummer, he was the divine drummer.
Divine drummer, okay.
All right. His name was Warren Gamaliel Akwe.
Wow.
And he went to America and started playing with Duke Ellington and all those, Count Basie and all those people. And so it was very instrumental in bringing a lot of jazz musicians to Ghana.
Oh, okay.
And then he was also instrumental in helping one of the greatest school music groups, the Adisalo Jazz Orchestra.
Oh, wow.
All right. And the people there, the Adisalo Jazz Orchestra, I mean, I don't want to go, this is your story. But, a lot of them went into very, very big things.
Yes.
You see, and when we talk about the icons, I mean, we've lost C.K. Man, who was one of my heroes, and Papa Yankson. But we've still got, what do you call it? Very much so. Yes. And it's important that we work with them. Have you had the opportunity of working with Jedoublé? Because he's very amenable to working with people like you.
I have met him before.
Yeah.
And I think the conversation came up. But I think I have not done my part on following up. I've not done well. I think I have to follow up so that it'll be nice.
I think you're busy really with your rehearsals. Now, that brings me up to a point. Artist management. The people in the background. One of the most important things about creatives is that they need to be managed, and you need to have an administrative wing of your music.
Yeah.
Does that happen? Do you have people who can help you in terms of programs, in terms of managing, in terms of marketing, in terms of arranging studios for you, and help? I know that if I have to mention Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, have you met her? She's done a lot of work.
Yes.
Have you got people like her? And how do we get more people like that interested in
so for me personally, I haven't gotten a manager. Yes,
but you think you need a manager?
I think I do, because it has become stressful. Trying to manage the administrative aspect of your life with your talent. It's very difficult, and it can be frustrating. There are days whereby I can just be so depressed because I want something to be pushed, but I don't have enough time. Yes, so I really do need a manager. It will help, because Auntie Coco, as you mentioned, I know she used to, I think maybe she still manages the Afro Maestros Orchestra.
Right.
And she managed them for a very long time, and they were very good. They even had a place where they lived, and then it was like a hub for them, a creative hub for them, and they were doing a lot. And Afro Maestro is still in existence, and we even have one of them, Fifi Flawless, who is basically playing violin all around. He's a star. He's a star. Yeah. Imagine he had a concert at the National Theatre, and I was in traffic trying to attend the concert right in front of the National Theatre. I was in traffic, stuck in traffic for 45 hours.
45 minutes.
45 minutes, sorry. Yes. And you can see that if you have management, your craft will really go far. So yes, I agree. I do need management.
Now, there are places like 233 and people like Dr. Odwe who have been very supportive of music.
Yes.
Have you engaged them, and how influential are they in helping you?
Okay, so the conversation with Dr. Odwe, it first started from Afro Classical Night because he has been a major support of Afro Classical Night. And I think for some reason, I think with him, I want us to concentrate on that first. I want it to be developed to a certain extent. And I had a concert planned this year. I wanted to talk it out with him, but it didn't come on because of how busy this year is getting. But I still plan on having a personal concert, and I think I know he's going to support. Yes, because he really supports artists creatives, and he's really good. Yeah.
Right. This is ZFM 101.9. My guest is Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, and he is a musician, an arranger, a composer, I'll say a maestro. And he's talking to me on I Have a Story to Tell. And my name is Fritz Baffour. Yeah. Yes, dare I say that I'm going to actually put somebody on the spot. Oh. And that is Nana Safo Kantanka, who is the director, the chairman of ZFM.
Wow.
He is very much into music. And I think that we are going to talk to him to see what we're going to do, because I think that we have to pass the music on to our little ones.
Yes.
What are your plans for making younger people get interested in music and take music up? Because the more creatives we have, the more of a critical mass that we're going to have. Because you were telling me a funny story before we got into the studio. You've got a heavenly son, I must say, and I was asking if he had, gotten any musical traits, or assumed any musical traits. Tell us about what you told me.
So interestingly, when he'll be playing on his own, and I think when he wants to sleep, he just begins to sing. And by the time he sings himself to sleep.
Oh, that is fascinating. So that means that music is a very important facet of our society.
Yes.
And in order to encourage our younger ones to do meaningful things, I think music is a very good outlet for endeavor, human endeavor. Yeah. So what plans have you got in yourself? Because you know yourself that it was people encouraging you to do music that has got you thus far. So, what are you doing with your Tumi and all those other people that you work with, all the little movements that you have?
Okay, so on the side of Afro Classical Nights, we usually encourage young performers. And because a lot of them, they can play the instruments, but they don't have a platform. So we usually sign them on, and then they come to perform. We give them the space. There are some performers, they feel they can perform 5 songs. We give them the chance to do so. So that is one aspect that and I'm actually the host of the program. So usually before anyone performs, I'm like their gates, they come through me. But usually I try to make sure that there are new acts and younger acts, so that they get to, show their talents to the world. And also, personally, I have some people that I'm also training on how to compose music. So once in a while, they write something, they send it to me, and then I just guide them as to how to go about some of the compositions, how to make their compositions interesting, how to make their compositions, sound African, to bring out their background, because it's something that I think we are also losing, because there are a lot of composers that compose music, but it still sounds Western. So I'm trying to also push a case so that we can showcase our culture. So these are some of the things that I'm actually doing, making sure that I train more composers after myself, so that in the near future there'll be more people that can, have this industry, being big and all that.
And what about outreach to schools? Because, a lot of the musicians that you are seeing now started off in school bands.
Yes.
Because once their disco jazz orchestra started, other schools in competition decided to set up the school bands.
Yeah.
St. John had, I think, Matthew chapter 5 or whatever. In Francis had the Magnets, and Achimota had, and I think in Francis was Circuit 5, Achimota, I can't remember. But all these schools started playing, and all the schools started buying instruments, and people started rehearsing. So what about you now, going on an outreach to schools in Accra and the rest of Ghana? Don't you think that would be something we'll have to approach the ministry, and we have to approach like-minded people, maybe Stanbic and Republic Bank and all those people to see? But what do you think of that idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Even with Afro Classical Nights, we planned going to the schools so that we are first looking at people who have the talent for playing instruments and talent for composition, so that we even organize another version of Afro Classical Nights in the school there, so that at least their friends can. So even if you have enough sponsors, all these sponsors can pick these talents and then push them out there. So it's still in talks. We are still planning it.
All right. This is ZFM 101.9. And this particular program is a labor of love for me, because I'm with a very remarkable young man, Kwaku Boakye-Frempong, who's a musician. And I'd like to add par excellence, because he plays the viola, the violin. He's been a choir leader. He teaches people how to manage choirs. He's played for the Accra Symphony Orchestra. He has got a degree from Wisconsin University, though he's an ICT man originally and all that. He's a father. His son himself, his young son, who's just turned 1, sings himself to sleep. So it's a very interesting thing. Now, here we are. We're coming to your 4th selection. What is your 4th selection?
Okay, so that's by a musician called Enam, and the title of the song is Wieve. It's a spiritual song, and
it's in Ewe.
It's in Ewe.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Though I don't understand the song fully, I just understand that she's trying to call for us Africans to be in touch with African spirituality, because African spirituality is not evil as it is perceived to be.
We'll talk about that after, because I want to get your take on African spirituality.
Okay.
Z 101.9 FM.
Dogolo, Dogolo, Abala TV, Anenya, Dogolo, 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 Abala TV, Anenya.
So but it was haunting.
Yes.
Beautiful music.
Yes.
I wish I could understand.
Yeah.
This is why I realize that when I come back again, when I go and I come back again, I'll learn every single Ghanaian language.
Yes.
It makes you. Yeah, you're talking about African spirituality. I think that over the years, when Christianity was introduced, the type of Christianity that was introduced was to change our mindset. And so they equated our traditional religions, our traditional religious practices with the devil. And some of our people bought into it, and that is what has created the problem.
Yeah.
But I know of a Catholic archbishop, I won't mention his name, who did his thesis on the linkages between the Catholic religious practices and the syncretic religious practices of Ghana. So, there's a recognition there by the Christian church that African traditional practices are non-negative.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, they didn't play the drums. It was everyone who introduced the drums, introduced African instrumentation. And we know that most of the European instrumentation actually came from Africa.
Yes.
The guitar, for example, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
These are the kind of things. So when you're talking about African spirituality, I wanted to ask, how much does your Africanness and your knowledge of Africa and the way it does things, how much does it impact on your ability to compose or on your compositions?
Okay, so first of all, the way I choose my instruments, I usually know that they have spiritual connotations, even when I use the Western variations of it. And a good example is the timpani.
Yeah.
The timpani was actually the tumpan.
Yeah.
The tumpan. The Europeans came to learn how to make that from us. And I know it has this, because even if you pick the tumpan, it has a male and a female.
Right.
They are speaking. It's like, should I say, a supreme being speaking.
Yeah.
And in African traditional religion, we don't view God as male.
No,
we view
it's
in
gender,
the dual or neutral gender. Yes. So you find the Tupan, both male and female, like X and Y chromosome, trying to speak something. And that's the reason why in the Akweside, I added the Tumpan inside. So as soon as the Tupan enters, like our director over here, our producer here, you realize that he responded to that. And that's the reason why at times. So I'm very careful when I'm choosing my instruments. If you have to listen to the Kweside again, you realize that there was the separate in it, just to complement the guitar or the harp.
That's the finger harp.
Yes, the finger harp.
Yeah. Okay.
And you realize that it's like a singing instrument. It has a lot of spirituality behind it, and that's how I choose my instruments. I just make sure that whatever it is, although your mind might not come to it, it will speak to you deep within. Yes.
So, you have to be in tune with your Africanness.
Yes.
To come up with the compositions and things like that. Now, what exactly, what do you see the future for yourself?
Okay, so for my future, in fact, there's a lot.
All right.
It's a lot. What I envision is my music impacting lives. Okay. I also view my music being studied. That brings me to even a point I should have even mentioned. When I completed my final year project, it was on creating music that sounds African. Whether you're a Ghanaian composer, whether you're from South Africa, whether you're even from the UK, if you say you want to compose music that's African, I did some blueprints that you'd have to follow. And if you're able to follow it perfectly, you're able to create African music. And that was my thesis. And so I feel, or what I see is, people actually creating more African works using my blueprints. Yes.
Right. And how easy is it for you to have access to African musical instruments? Because do we have a concerted group of people who make our instruments? Because that in itself is very important.
Yes.
Because you know that in Europe, the Stradivarius is the ultimate violin, if I'm right. Yeah. So do we have that? And are we to encourage that?
Yeah, so first of all, I'll say yes, we do have to encourage that. We have a lot of people making instruments, but it's either they are not registered, or it is either maybe because they don't have that much support. But I have a friend called Lucas. He plays the Atenteben and then the Seperoa. What he does is when he buys the instruments, then he makes it well-tempered. If they say well-tempered, he makes it in such a way that, the sound is not raw. Okay, so if it is too low, it refines the sound. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. So someone like him, I think that we have more people like him doing that, especially registered, and they are just like the Stradivarius family. They'll be doing a lot of local instruments because our local instruments have a rich sound. So far as you get it to be well-tempered, you realize that the kind of sound that they create, it even brings that African spirituality. You listen to it and you are in tune with your ancestors. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we're coming to the end of our session here.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask you, do we have any hope for African musicians or African music or Ghanaian music in Ghana? Because we're more related to Ghana. I mean, what is the future for Ghanaian music? Do you have any hope for it?
There is hope. I think the presence of social media today has brought a lot to the limelight, things that we didn't know. Even our high life musicians, most people in my generation, we didn't know them. We didn't come to meet their music. But because of social media and archives that are brought to light, we get to hear some of these compositions. For instance, when Ampedu died, people in my generation were like, "Oh, Ampedu." I'm like, how do you know this guy? And they're like, "Why? I saw him on social media and all that." For me, I know Ampedu because my father had his cassettes.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. And so on and so forth. So I think there's hope. Because of the presence of social media, a lot is coming to the limelight, and one day I'm sure we'll get our first Grammy winner very soon.
Okay, on that note, I'd like to thank you very much, Kwaku.
All right, thank you
for being on I Have a Story to Tell on 101.9. What is your final selection?
Okay, so that's by a musician from Mali called Salif Keita.
Oh, the great Salif Keita.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And so what's it called?
It's called Madan.
Madan,
Yes.
Salif Keita.
Yes.
We all come from there, so that's
Wow,
our music
yes.
anyway. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you too.
This is Fritz Baffour on ZFM 10.9. The program has been I Have a Story to Tell, and my guest is the wonderful Kwaku Boakye-Frempong.
Thank you.
It's been a labor of love, and I'm very, very pleased to have you on this program.
Thank you.
And I promise I'm going to get Nana Safo to get you to do something for this radio station.
I'll be so glad.
Good night, and see you next week, same time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And also do follow us on all our socials. On TikTok at Z Multimedia, LinkedIn at Z Multimedia, YouTube at ZTV, IDX, and Facebook at ZFM GH.